Here's an eye-opener for you. 92% of sales reps quit after hearing the word no just 4 times. But it turns out 80% of prospects say no more than 4 times before they say yes. The lesson here? Well, sales objections happen. You're gonna get told no. But your success is gonna boil down to how you respond to these rejections, and that's what we're gonna cover in this video when we look at the 5 most common sales objections that you're gonna hear and how to overcome them. Hi, my name is Will and I make selling simple. Now, today in this video, we're going to look at the inevitability of sales objections. We're going to look at first the 2 pathways that you can take when you're hit with a sales objection. This is where the circle back method comes in handy. Then we're going to jump into how you can respond to each of the most common 5 sales objections. The objection of, this is just too expensive. Then we're going to take a look at, well, now just isn't a good time. And obviously we've all heard that one before. Then we're going to look at, hey, I already have a supplier. And we're going to look at the one that I hate, the one that salespeople typically deal with the worst, which is just email me some information. And finally, last but not least, we'll look at the objection where your prospect says, hey, well, I'm not really the decision maker. I need to go and speak to my boss. And a hint here, if you get this objection more than a couple of times a week, this is your fault. This is your problem that you need to solve, as opposed to an objection that you need to overcome from your prospect. All right, but before we get into all of that, just a quick word on sales objections themselves. Sales objections aren't necessarily a bad thing, not by any means. Instead, what you're getting from your buyer when you get a sales objection is an open window into what makes them tick, what they're concerned about, and most importantly, what's going to hold them back long term over the entirety of the sales process from saying yes at the end of it. So if you can turn a sticking point of an objection into a yes, that question mark into an exclamation point, then you're going to drive a more enthusiastic buying cycle and you're going to have prospects close deals quicker than if you hadn't have dealt with the objections at all. You just have to know how to address these objections properly, and that's what we're going to cover right now, so let's dive in. First up, let's take a look at the 2 pathways that you can take when you respond to an objection. Because no matter what the objection is, it could literally be anything. There's only really 2 things that you can do. The first thing that you can do is what we call the circle back method. Now, I want you to understand this, that most objections don't come from a prospect just being a pain in the ass. They come from a prospect not understanding something that you're explaining to them. And when the prospect learns more about your offering, like later on in your call or your presentation or the meeting that you're going to have 3 weeks from now as things get more serious, this original objection that they brought up ahead of time is no longer an issue. Now, these aren't stupid objections necessarily. The prospect's going to get the questions answered over the natural course of the sales cycle, but they're just asking these questions or posing the objections prematurely. So when one of these objections crops up, we're going to respond and say, hey, well, we'll come back to that in a minute. Or, hey, we'll cover that on the next phone call in this process if that's cool with you. And that's how you deal with like 90% of sales objections. It's really as simple as that. You acknowledge the objection, you acknowledge that there is a roadblock between the understanding that your prospect has about what you do and what you're trying to provide to them and what you've explained so far. And you just say, hey, is it cool if we come back to this? We'll cover it in a minute. We'll cover it at the end of the call. We'll cover it when Barry, the boss, is on the phone, the real decision maker, and we can go into it in more detail. Does that sound good? So that's the circle back method. And if that isn't appropriate for the objection that you just faced, the only other thing that you can do is solve the issue itself. So if this is a real objection, just solve the issue. And importantly, follow up with the prospect to ensure that they agree that it's solved. Remember, it's their objection, so they have to agree that you've overcome it, gone around it, done whatever to solve this issue. Now, in some cases, these objections are knee-jerk responses. So, for example, if you've got a buyer that says, it sounds great, but I don't have the budget for this, and you haven't even told them the pricing yet, then you're going to use the circle back method, and you're going to say, hey, okay, put that thought on hold. We'll come back to the budget once we've explained pricing in a few minutes from now. If they're dogmatic about not having budget and they won't accept this circle back method, then you need to deal with the issue in real time. You need to deal with them right there and then. So just ask them, hey, well, do you know what the price is? And in many cases, they will turn around and say, no, I don't know. And then you can go, well, okay, well, how do you know that you've not got the budget for this? And they'll go, oh, and they might feel slightly uncomfortable because you pushed back on them. They thought that you were just going to be weak and fold to this objection that they give to every salesperson that they speak to. But 9 times out of 10, when you explain that there's a gap in knowledge like this by solving the problem in real time, they go, okay, and you carry on with the process. In cases like this, some simple information, like I just used in that example, can solve the problem in a split second. If the prospect doesn't actually know what the pricing is, tell them. If they don't think it's right for their industry, point to the fact that a ton of their competitors are using your product or service right now to crush them in their own market. That's another really simple way to deal with common sales objections. Now, well, all this gets a little bit murky and gets a little bit complicated is when the prospect actually has all the information that they need to make a decision and they still have objections that they're throwing at you. And this is when it's time to bring out the big guns. So let's take a look at the 5 most common sales objections that happen towards the end of the sales process and how you can effectively respond to them. First up, we've got the objection, this is just way too expensive. And according to a survey from Sales Insights Lab, budget is the #1 reason that a strong sales opportunity just falls apart in the pipeline. And this kind of makes sense because a lot of the time, business is money coming in or out of an organization. And so if you hear this objection, it's because the prospect just doesn't see the return on investment from working directly with you. So instead of just accepting this objection, you could perhaps ask the prospect, hey, if I could show you a strong ROI that you could expect from working with us, would it make sense to continue the conversation? Now, obviously, if you can show a strong return on investment from what they're going to spend with you, it's an absolute no-brainer for the prospect to continue moving forward in the sales process. Obviously, the skill here is being able to show, document, and show in a spreadsheet, numbers, presentation, whatever it is, that ROI and have the prospect trust that you can deliver it. And if the ROI at that point makes sense to them, then they're going to be sold. If not, they were never going to be happy with your product or service anyway. And so this disqualifies them as a prospect anyway. Next up, we've got the objection, now just isn't a good time. So here, the buyer either doesn't see the value that you offer or just bluntly, they're not qualified to do business with you. Now, you could try and handle this like every other sales rep has done for the past 200 years. You just leave your contact information and ask them to give you a call if things change. But if you do that, you're never going to hear from them again. They're never going to get back to you. They're never going to remember your details. Instead, you need to close them on the next conversation. And you can do that by following up with something like, hey, well, you seem like a great fit for what we do. When would it make sense to chat? Make sure at this point you're booking a call, a meeting in your diary, in the prospect's diary, that then if it's 6 months in the future, 3 weeks from there, 2 weeks from there, a week from there, you're going to email them, you're going to get them to recommit to that time in the diary, and you're going to stay in touch until it is the right time to do business. The third most common sales objection is, hey, I already have another supplier. And this is absolutely fine. In all ways, this can be a positive thing depending on the product that you're selling. Because selling to someone who doesn't use a product or service like yours is one thing. You've got to do a lot of education. Perhaps there's no competitor to compete with, but you've got to do a lot of education. You've got to get them to find budget from nowhere. You've got to convince them the value of your product. You've got to push their pain point buttons, and you've got to get them to fight to make anything happen internally within their own processes. But if a buyer already has a similar solution to what you have to offer, all you've got to do now is make your value proposition and return on investment stronger than what they're currently getting. In some situations, and I find this with our sales training over at salesman.org, Selling Made Simple Academy, where we sell to individuals like you probably watching this video right now, but also to large corporate accounts, right? I find that selling into accounts that already have incumbent but external sales training, because most of it sucks, right? It's so much easier than trying to get a startup or a new organization on board with sales training from the first time that the team's ever been through any. All that you've got to do, and all that I do when I'm beating out these competitors in their own accounts, is just to understand how the current solution is not making the cut. Why does it suck? Nobody is happy about every part of a product or service that's being delivered. So the simple rebuttal to this objection is something like, hey, well, are you thrilled about how this organization is performing for you right now? Very, very, very rarely will your prospect say, yeah, I am actually really happy with everything. Typically, this question is going to open up the door to where the prospect is feeling that they're not getting serviced, they're falling flat, and they're going to ask you if you can help solve this issue for them. The next most common objection that a lot of salespeople get is when they get told to, hey, I'm busy right now, just email me over some information. And this is the ultimate blow off. And it typically happens right at the top of your sales call, your first meeting with the prospect. And what they're telling you here, what the prospect is telling you, what they're communicating is that they just don't care about you. It's not even a trust thing at this point. They just don't give a So your job now is to make them care about you, what you provide, the service that you offer. And you can do that by sending them the right kind of info at the right moment in time. So don't just blindly accept to send them something in the email, some generic information, right? You want to follow up this objection with, hey, can I ask you a couple of quick questions to make sure that I'm sending you the correct information in the email? And two things are going to happen here. First, you're going to learn more about the buyer and the problem so that you're sending them what they actually are looking for so that you can follow up effectively. But beyond that, what happens most of the time is you're going to qualify the buyer, you're going to see if they are a good fit depending on the questions that you ask. And 9 times out of 10, the conversation continues for over 2 or 3 minutes and you get to ask them what you wanted to ask them before they give you the objection in the first place. And then we have the final objection, objection number 5, where your prospect turns around and goes, hey, well, this sounds fantastic, but I need to speak to my boss. Now, this one is your fault. Dead simple. If you get this objection more than a couple of times a week, more than a couple of times a month, you're not prospecting the right people within your accounts. And that means you need to rethink your sales process, rethink your qualification criteria, and you need to bring the real decision maker into the conversation moving forward. And you can do that with one simple response to this sales objection. You can say, hey, well, does it make sense to book a quick call with both you and your boss, or the decision maker, or the budget holder, or however you want to frame it up, to run through this? And what's great about this response to this common objection is that you're not cutting out your initial contact. And so that means that you won't risk embarrassing them or putting them on the defense. But you have to respond to this objection. You can't just continuously let the information go from you to some random schmuck to the decision maker, because nothing will ever get done in the world of complex B2B sales. So there we go. In this video, we've covered a few things here. We've covered the 2 pathways. So these are the 2 ways you can deal with sales objections. First, you can use the circle back approach, and you can also just solve the objection in real time with a factual solution, explaining more information or explaining the ROI. That solves most objections. And I've also given you 5 proven responses to the most common sales objections that you'll get towards the end of the sales process after these initial 2 techniques become less effective. And if you enjoyed this video, why not click the video that's on the screen right now and continue making selling simple.